What's up, guys? This is going to be an introduction to powerline fishing that's typically known in Chicago for coho salmon, browns, just about anything that's in the lake. Typically it's done in spring and the season is typically pretty short, but it's a lot of fun. So this segment is going to be an introduction to powerlining and explaining what it is, and after that I'll show you guys how to actually make a powerline. So here we have your bucket or rig, and that's pretty much your base for everything. But powerline fishing is shooting out a weight with a CO2 tank that happens to be attached to twine and about 50 to 75 feet of rubber, and then you attach that end to your rod, and then you shoot out. Once it's shot out, you reel in the rubber band, attach that to your power line, and the rubber band will actually pull the power line away from the pier, and you'll actually be fishing a great distance off of the pier depending on how far you set it. This allows you to get the coho that are further out there. It allows you to fish with multiple hooks, and it's a very relaxing way to fish. I mean, you just kind of sit there and wait for the bell, and you get to interact with the guys around you and learn from everybody that's willing to teach, and it's a great event. So, like I said, this is the bucket. This is your foundation for everything. Typically, I fish with a straight bucket rig. It's pretty stealthy, light. Some people will have old carts that they have rigged and, you know, pimped out for power lining. It's pretty crazy to see the different kinds of things that people come up with. And I definitely always get new ideas when I go out there. So once your line is shot out, it's going to look like this. And this is the twine that's connected to the line, to the weight, and then that'll be connected to your rubber. And then you'll reel that in to, yourself on shore while you're holding the rod. And once it's in, you just attach it to your Powerline rig here. And you just pretty much let it out. Now, these are floaters in front. I use 10 hooks, so I have a floater in the front, a floater in the back, even though there's only 7 hooks here, but whatever. And then you just let it go. And then you're fishing. You attach it to a bell, and when the bell rings, you get a fish. And in the next segment, I'll show you how to actually build it, and I'm planning a couple other videos in the future for actually catching fish with power lines and how to set it up when you're out there. But that's pretty much what power lining is in a nutshell. There's a lot more to learn, but it's going to take a lot more than one video to do it. But this is all you really need to know. I remember when I was first getting started power lining, it was quite difficult because I had no where to start. So I'm hoping this will help some of the new guys out there and make your time a little easier. Alright, on to the next segment. Now, to make a power line, you're going to need a few things you can get at any fishing store. You get it at Bass Pro, Cabela's, just about anywhere. You're going to need some 30 or 50 pound mono. Some beads. You can get these at Walmart. They have them at Cabela's. Pretty much any beads you want as long as they got holes in them. A few snap swivels. Just straightforward snaps. Couple barrel swivels. Now I use the Spro power swivels, 50 pound. Some Gamakatsu hooks. I use octopus hooks size 4. And some backing. Personally, I use fly line. Backing, 30 pound test. Now the wonderful thing about power lining is everybody does it differently. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to tell you something differently. Long as it catches fish, doesn't really matter. So some people will do small bead, small bead, big bead, and then put a swivel, and then do big bead, small bead. So they got a total of 4 beads on each one of their little segments. So let's start here. What I'll do is, depending on how many hooks I want on my line, I will put it on in this order. Personally, I use 2 beads. So I'll do bead, swivel, oops, bead, swivel, bead. So it looks like that. And then that'll be one of my segments. Now, I'll do that. I'll add them all, depending on how many hooks I want. So for the sake of the video, I'll only do a couple. I've already got a rig all tied up. So you want to add it all first to the 30-pound or 50-pound mono that you're using. There's 2. And just let it slide down. Do bead, swivel, bead. And then once you got all those on, what I like to do is just take one of your snaps and tie it on right to the end. That way they're not going anywhere and you got it all ready to go. Just a clinch knot, clip the tag, and what you'll end up with, this is a brand new spool of mono, so it has some coils in it. What you'll end up with is that. Obviously there'll be more of these segments because you wouldn't powerline with 3 hooks. Typically I use 10. Again, the wonderful thing about powerlining is everybody does it differently. You do whatever you want, as long as you catch fish. So that's what you end up with. So the way to tie it, that I do it, is I'll do a wingspan from my swivel, from the front. And I'll keep that spot, make a loop, and usually I'll coil the whole power line onto the spool to make it easier. Then all you do is bring it right through, and you're going to have a knot there. All you do, bring that knot together, tighten it up. Then you just bring down a bead, swivel bead, and it'll stop right at that knot. Then we'll make another loop on the other side of the knot, coil it back up to make it easier to bring through. Come on. Right through. Then you want to move that knot right to the edge on the other side of that. What you'll end up with is something like this. It's not going anywhere. That's where it's staying. You got 2 knots. That's all it is, overhand knots. Same knots you use to tie your shoes. And then all you do is give it another wingspan. Overhand. Bring it right through. Another knot. Bring down a bead swivel bead. Again. So you got that. Right on the other side. Make another loop. Coil up your line. Bring it right through. Move that knot over all the way. That one's kind of sloppy, but you get the gist. You want the knots to be as close together as possible so the beads really won't move, but for the sake of the video, just doing it pretty quickly. And then pretty much you do that however many times you want for however many hooks you want, and then you go back and then you tie leaders to these swivels, and you can either attach them with a snap. I personally tie directly on, and then I'll use size 4 Gamakatsu octopus hooks. Some people use size 6. It's all about preference. That's the beauty of power lining. The best way to learn is to go out there and do it. You'll make your mistakes. It's intimidating at first, but a lot of great guys out there are more than willing to help. So once you got however many hooks you want, at the end you tie another snap, and then you're done. That's pretty much your power line setup. And on each end will go a floater. Since I'm only using 10 hooks, I only put 2 floaters. A lot of people use 15 hooks and put 3 floaters. So they'll have another snap right in the middle of their power line for that floater. Personally, I just put my floaters on the back swivel and the front swivel, and it works out just fine. And then all you do is throw a swivel on your backing, and then just attach it to your power line. And then I'll usually have one spool like this that has my backing and my power line, so when I'm out there, I'm all ready to go. That's pretty much how you make a power line. Next video, I will actually show you how to set up the power line. I've got to get out fishing, probably going later this week. And out there I'll show you how to get it all set up and started. Thanks for watching.